The brand new Arresterdramon and Hunter archetype arrives with a very cool and unique way to play the game. Digimon fans, welcome back, and today we'll be showcasing the Gumdramon, Arresterdramon, and Hunter deck profile. If you're a fan of Gumdramon and Arresterdramon, then this deck is perfect for you. But other than that, if you're also a new or budget player looking to get into the game competitively for the first time, this is also the perfect deck that you should check out for yourself. This deck functions quite similar to the cross-heart save mechanic and concept, but other than just reducing card play costs of your lower end Digimon, the Hunter deck also reduces Digivolution costs to help you climb into your boss Digimon, which will be your Arresterdramon Superior Mode very quickly. This concept is very new and can be tricky for some newer players to understand, but don't worry because I have a full comprehensive how to play and combo guide right after the deck profile. The best thing about this deck is that all the cards within my current build only utilizes the card pool from the brand new BT12 Across Time set. Not only that, it is extremely budget friendly as well. But first, let's show you guys what we have for the build today. Alright, starting off with the Digi-Egg cards, we only have the 4 copies of this brand new purple Monimon from BT12. It has a very simple effect of undulation. If this Digimon has save in its text, you get to draw one. Very important that we play this egg particular only because there's a lot of save sort of synergy that's going to be needed, and this card itself does have save in its text as well. So it's going to synergize with our rookies very, very heavily. And yeah, these are the 4 eggs that you only need for the deck. Let's now talk about our rookies. Brand new protagonist right here. Well, not brand new, but more brand new for the card game. Not so brand new for the anime show, but for those who are fans, we got Gumdramon. Right immediately, you can see that it digivolves for 0 on top of a level 2, which has save in its text, meaning that Monimon counts because it does have save on the card itself, being its inheritable effect. Now, on play, by placing one Digimon card with save in its text from your hand under one of your tamers, you get to draw one, so also another very great draw power card. It has on deletion save, so it can go underneath your tamers as well. It can digicross for 2 with anything that has save in its text by minusing 2 costs, and with its inheritable is also all about draw power, because when attacking once returned, if this Digimon has save in its text, you get to draw one. So lots of save synergy. We're going to be talking a lot about these cards, about save particularly, once again, and yeah, this is again draw power card, really, really great that you must run a 4 of. Next, for other purple, we have 4 copies of this new Psychomon. Once again, it has save, which lets you digivolve for 0 on top of an egg that has save in its text. A little bit different for this one. On play, you get to return one Digimon card with save in its text from underneath your tamers back to your hand. So if you're ever tucking stuff underneath your tamers, you can always recur a little bit of resources later in the mid game and late games, which makes this card very handy for you to give you a little bit of a long-term value. Once again, it has on deletion, so that you can save underneath a tamer, digicross for 2 with save in its text, and when attacking as well, once returned, if it has save, you get to draw one exactly the same inheritable as Gumdramon. So draw power card, you know, sort of like a searcher card, utility, really good stuff that you want to have 4 copies of as well. Next, we have 2 copies of Shoutmon. Shoutmon's here to basically really help with this deck. It is mainly just your rookie that you want to just chip in early stage of the game because it just simply has on deletion save. It has the inheritable of when attacking once returned. If your Digimon has save in its text, you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. Really great threshold, really, really nice. So yeah, definitely a very good addition to the deck for sure. Then we have 2 copies of Dracmon. This one has on play by revealing up to 3 Tamer cards in your hand and then placing them to the bottom of your deck. You can draw 1 card for each placed. Kind of situational, not always needed, but you do sometimes tend to have your hand with lots of tamers that you don't really necessarily need in the early stages of the game because you want to cycle through more and get more Digimon cards instead, especially those with save in its text. But mainly also it has on deletion save, being a very great rookie for early chipping, and then it can digicross for 2 with save in its text, and then inheritable is at your turn. While this Digimon have save, it gets extra 2000 DP to give you a bit more power, which you're going to be needing every now and then for sure. And then for the final rookie, we have 2 copies of Ikakimon. This one just simply digivolves on top of an egg that is save in its text for 0 cost. And then when attacking, once returned, if this Digimon has save in its text with its inheritable, you get to minus 2000 DP to one of your opponent's Digimon. And that's really about it. Again, very similar to Dracmon with its inheritable, but this one instead just gets to like take out smaller stuff, which is always going to be nice. Just to let you guys know, I actually posted the deck list on the Avault Club membership already. So if you guys want to see early exclusive community posts that includes my first draft deck profiles and constant updates, then be sure to join right now by clicking on the join button. I'll also leave links with the icon on the top right and in the description box down below. Also, if you haven't done so yet, be sure to like and subscribe as it really helps the channel, and thank you guys so much for the support. That's it for our rookies, showcasing our level 4s, the brand new Arresterdramon right here, which is Gumdramon's Digivolution sort of type right here. Going to be super good. It digivolves for 2 on top of a purple level 3. Otherwise, you digivolve for 2 on top of any level 3 Digimon that has save in its text. When digivolving, if this Digimon has 2 or more Digivolution cards, it gains Rush for the turn. And then on deletion, you get to save it. But not only that, you can also save 1 more Digimon card with save in its text from your trash underneath your tamers other than itself. So, cycling back some resources is always very good with this card. And it has the inheritable of when attacking once per turn, if it has save in its text, draw power, exactly the same as Gumdramon as well, and Psychmon. So a lot of draw power, like sort of inheritables with the purple ones right here. This is sort of like your main bridge, sort of semi boss Digimon that you want to get into, but he does enable a lot of like really cool combos for you to sort of like go for your bigger plays, and you definitely want to see 4 copies of because of how important he really is for the deck for sure. Next, we have 4 copies of Shoutmon King version here, digivolving for 2 on top of a level 3 red, otherwise for 2 on top of any Digimon that has save. On play or when digivolving, you get to play 1 Taiki, Yu, or Tagiru from your hand for free, which really helps you set up your tamers for so efficiency memory, which is very, very great. Itself has on deletion save as well. And then just like Arresterdramon, you can also play something that is saved from your trash underneath your tamers back, so then being very efficient. It has Digicross 2, so you can definitely hard play this guy for 3 costs and then spit out a tamer for free is ultra value. So you definitely want to see this card as often as you can. 4 copies is definitely what you need. And also it has 1 attacking. Exactly just like the Shoutmon rookie, it pops a 4k or less. So very nice removal for the deck, 100%. So 4 is definitely what you want to have. And then the next one, we have a very similar Digimon. We have 4 copies of Digimon. Its effect is actually almost similar to Shoutmon, or if not identical, because this one just digivolves with 2 on top of a black, but digivolving for 2 on top of anything that has save, that's level 3. On play when digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck instead of from your hand. You get to play 1 Taiki, Yu, or Tagiru among them for free, so giving you a little bit of like search power, which is nice. Then you place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. On deletion, it saves itself, but also saves another thing that has save from your trash to put it underneath your entertainers for better resourcing. And then Digicross 2, so very similar concept as Shoutmon King version. You can hard play this guy for 3 and you get a lot of value off of it. Just a little bit more high roll with the reveal top 3 cards, but its inheritable is a little bit different. If this Digimon has save in its text, it gets blockers, so giving you that defensive capability is always very nice. And again, this is why I definitely want to maximize this at 4-2. Next up, we have 2 copies of Quartzmon. This one is very interesting. First of all, it's in blocker, and on play, it searches the top 3 cards of your deck, adding up to 2 Digimon cards with different colors and having save in their text among them to place them in your hand, and you place the rest at the bottom. So you definitely want to be seeing lots of Digimons with save. The more variety you have, the better it is for you for values to sort of plan and sort of like counter different matchups and whatnot. And then on deletion, it has save for its own. And then with its inheritable is at your turn, while this Digimon has save, it gives it jamming, which is going to be super crucial to ensure that your bigger sort of like champion level 4s and level 5s, when they swing in, they do not get delayed by security battle, simply because your DP is a little bit lacking. You don't have a super powerful level 6 in this deck, so this is very, very, very crucial for sure. And then we have 2 copies of Quartzmon. This one is kind of versatile because it digivolves on top of a black level 3 for 3 costs. Otherwise, you can digivolve on top of a level 4 black for 1 cost. Otherwise, you also just digivolve straight up for 3 on top of anything that is saving its text. When digivolving, it gets to de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Now then, for every 2 cards in this Digimon's Digivolution, you get to add 1 maximum level that you can choose with that effect. So meaning that originally you can only de-digivolve a level 5 or lower, but potentially you can de-digivolve a 6 and a 7. So pretty nice control that you can have every now and then. 2 is really all I need. I might, argue just bumping down this to 1 copy and then adding another Quartzmon instead throughout playtesting. So really based on your personal preference and choices. On deletion, just like all the other guys, save. Other than just saving itself, you can save something from trash back to underneath one of your tamers, so very, very efficient. And the inheritable, just like Digimon, it gives you blockers, so pretty nice. And yeah, 2 is all I need. That's it for level 4s. Let's talk about our level 5s, where we actually have Arresterdramon Superior Mode, and this guy is essentially our boss Digimon of the deck right here, which we want to be seeing as often as possible in terms of the mid game, and so that we can go for our big combos and swing and basically win and control at the same time, where he does a whole lot of things for you in this deck. First, it digivolves for 4 on top of any regular purple for 4 cost. Otherwise, it can digivolve for 4 on top of any red, black, or purple level 4 Digimon that has save in its text. When digivolving, very similar to Bagramon, you place one of your opponent's level 3 or lower Digimon as its bottom Digivolution cards into another opponent's Digimon or underneath their Tamer. Now, for each Tamer that you have with different color in play, you get to add 1 maximum level to this effect. So potentially it can very easily just reach up to level 6 and even 7, and you can just basically remove anything. With this new form of removal, there's almost no protection against it, which makes it incredibly strong, incredibly powerful, and very obnoxious for your opponents to deal with, because you just completely just get rid of the opponent's Digimon, but you didn't delete it, you didn't bounce it back to your hand, nor you bottom deck it, which makes it almost inaccessible once again, depending on most of your matchups. Now, he has a very other really cool, interesting secondary effect. End of your turn once per turn, if this Digimon has 4 more Digivolution sources, this Digimon can attack without suspending. Now, very important with this one, you can even attack with this guy if it was suspended initially anyways. So meaning that you can swing in with an attack earlier, and then during the end of your turn, it can attack again while it is suspended, simply because you just don't need to require to suspend this guy for the attack anymore. Now, it has the inheritable, just like Gumdramon, just like Arresterdramon. When attacking once per turn, if it has save, you get to draw 1 card. So this card is like super good for control and removal. Really, really good mid game, late game card. It can help you end games really quickly as well, just because of its sort of capability of attacking twice per turn. And yeah, really, really strong card. So you definitely want to have 4 copies of this one no matter what, because of it being your main boss Digimons. Next, we have 2 copies of Omni Shoutmon here, digivolving for 3 on top of a red level 4 for 3 costs, otherwise anything for save for 3 costs as well. And then when digivolving, choose any number of your opponent's Digimon that's total DP, add up to 4,000 DP or less, and then delete them. For every 2 cards in this sources, you get to add 3,000 DP to the maximum DP based on deletion effect. You're usually going to be having 2 sources for sure. As if you ever reach up to like 4 sources, that means you can delete something that is like 7k and then 10k with total, which is very nice removal. Very good at dealing with wide boards, but also really good for, eventually popping something that's like a level 5 with this guy is definitely really strong. Your turn, if this Digimon has 4 or more Digivolution sources in it, it also gains security attack +1. It's okay with that effect because it is only just 7k, so you're very, very susceptible from being deleted by security battle. But if you're able to chip in early with this guy, you are definitely running a lot of value for sure. And then with its inheritable, just like Shoutmon, you basically, when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has save, you get to delete something with 4,000 DP or less. So definitely a nice card to have for sure. And 2 is really all you need for the level 5. That's it for the level 5s. We do not play any level 6s in this deck because there isn't any level 6s released just yet for this deck, I believe. So we're just going to skip right to the level 7s right here, where we have 2 copies of Quartzmon. Quartzmon digivolves for 6 costs on top of a level 6 green, black, or white Digimon, but we're going to be using its alternative black text box to digivolve for 9 on top of a level 5 Digimon with save in its text. Now, that's a lot of memory to pay for, but that's okay. You're going to get some of that memory back because depending on certain matchups, this card gives you so much value as sort of like your top end level 7 to secure and win harder, or basically just secure games. Because when digivolving, suspend all other Digimon and all other Tamers. Then for every 2 suspended Digimon and or Tamer, you gain 1 memory back. So you can very effectively pay very little with this guy, depending on sort of your matchups. Your opponent has a wide board and you have a wide board yourself with lots of Tamers and everything. You can bring this guy out and basically just floodgate the entire board and then just basically like hold the game on pause, just like that with this 1 card as its defensive mechanism. And with that defensive capability really comes in with its second effect, because of all turns other than this Digimon, other Digimon and Tamers don't unsuspend. Now it has another third effect which gives you the offense side of things so that you can go aggressive, is that when attacking, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, then trash the top card of your opponent's security stack for every 5 suspended Digimon and or Tamers. So you can eventually sometimes end games with this card, and that's why it's so incredibly strong. And again, having the both defense and offense in the same thing in one single card is what makes this card super strong and fits into the entire category very nicely with this entire deck, because everything you play that is a level 5 does have save, so you can Digivolve it very easily without sort of like going into level 6. That's it for all of our Digimon. Let's talk about our Tamers. Our brand new Pro Tag Tamer right here. We have 3 copies of Tagiru. This is your memory tamer essentially for 4 costs, and with a second effect is that when one of your Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon card with save in its text, by suspending this tamer and placing one card from under one of any of your tamers, including itself, as its bottom Digivolution card, you get to reduce the cost by 1. You're going to be seeing this effect a lot with all of our tamers essentially, and we're just going to go through all of them and they just do various different things. So yeah, 3 copies just so you can get memory, so they can always start off very nicely with this guy is definitely very efficient. And next, for our sort of older pro tag that makes a comeback, we have Taiki Kudo right here. This one's very different, very new, and it's only really mostly dedicated for this deck, and we have 4 copies of. Starting your main phase, by placing one Digimon card from your hand that has save from its hex underneath this tamer, you get to draw 1 card. Draw power is going to be crucial. Adding stuff underneath is going to be crucial as well, because it gives you more resources to play with your combos later on. And I'm going to show you guys how it all works. Now for its unique effect as well, exactly the same as Tagiru, when you Digivolve into something that's a Digimon that has save in its text, you can basically suspend this guy, place 1 Digimon from any of your under your tamers to reduce the cost by 1, and that's effectively what he does as well. So exactly same effect, and you definitely want to see this one a bit more often because draw power is definitely more nice. For another guy that's also exactly the same, we have 2 copies of Uemano. I am debating maybe bumping up just to 3. And keep in mind this guy, this one is at the start of your main phase by placing 1 Digimon with save in its text underneath this tamer. It does read on this card right now. It says one of your Digimon gets extra 2000 DP for this turn. Now keep in mind, very important note, that this card is actually errated. It has the wrong effect right now. You're not supposed to get 2000 DP for the turn with that Digimon. Instead, you're supposed to be gaining a memory when you do place something with save in its text underneath this guy. So keep in mind, I'll keep a link, I'll pin a comment down in the description box down below with you guys so you guys can read and make sure that you know what this card exactly does. It gains your memory once again, does not give you DP. Otherwise, secondary effect, just like what Taiki and Tagiru does, basically reducing Digivolution costs when you ever do Digivolve. So yeah, this guy's really good because memory is always nice for sure. And then last but not least, to round off all the tamers, we got 3 copies of Watchmaker right here. This is the white tamer, which on plays helps you search the top 3 cards of your deck, adding yourself 1 Digimon card with save in its text and 1 other card with Hunter in its traits. Now, all of your tamers are essentially going to be Hunters, so it grabs you 1 Digimon and 1 tamer for now in this most recent build. So really, really efficient. Potentially hitting 2 targets with 3 costs is very, very nice. And main, if you have 4 or more tamers in play, by suspending this tamer, one of your Digimon with save in its text gains security +1 for the turn. Gonna be really crucial. You're gonna be playing lots of tamers anyways to fulfill this requirement, and really great combination with Arresterdramon, so you can do big damage, big swings, lots of security checks, and aggressively finish games all together. Alright, that's it for our 50 card main deck. Let's now talk about some other cards that we can also include from the BT12 set, as there's quite a lot of different tools that you can actually add in as well. The first one is Arresterdramon, which is a purple level 5 for the Digivolution line of the save and the whole Hunter things. Basically, it Digivolves for 3 on top of a purple level 4, but kind of complicated. It can Digivolve for 5 directly on top of a Psychmon, or 3 for a yellow, green, or purple level 4 with save in its text. So, and when Digivolving, you may play 1 level 4 or lower Digimon with save in its text from underneath of your tamers for free, and then if this Digimon has 4 or more Digivolution cards, it can Digivolve into a Quartzmon from your hand or underneath one of your tamers, and then reduce the Digivolution cost by 3 instead, which is very, very interesting, but it helps you turbo to get into your Quartzmon when you need, and it definitely has its very good usages every now and then. And then with its inheritable, exactly like the draw power stuff, when attacking once returned, if you have save, you get to draw a card, which is definitely really nice, and yeah, definitely considerable that I might consider adding this guy in here and there, but haven't really decided yet, but up to you guys as an extra suggestion. Next up, for some of our tamers, we have a purple tamer, which is Ryoma, dedicated for the archetype. A little bit different and kind of interesting, because at the start of your main phase, if this tamer has 2 or fewer cards under it, it gets to place 1 Digimon with save in its text from your trash under this Tamer, and then just like all the other guys, you get to reduce the cost by 1 by suspending and placing something underneath. So this one helps you grab stuff back from the trash very efficiently and very effectively. I don't feel like I definitely need this one as much, just because again, all the other ones that we play are way more efficient and better in terms of value, but this is a not bad one if you want to tech in as one-off for sure. Next we have Ren, and we also have Iru. Once again, they do very similar stuff to all the other tamers we have with its secondary effect. Ren, instead, by placing one underneath, actually gives your Digimon 2000 DP for the turn, and this can be very helpful for swinging over stuff, and exact same concept with Iru, where instead she minuses one of your opponent's Digimon by 2000 DP for the turn instead. And yeah, these are some of like utility stuff, really based on your personal preference and what you like. Again, you know, my build is fairly standard, so I didn't really include those, but again, based on personal preference and sort of your matchups and your knowledge, whatever you like, you know, you can definitely juggle around with some of these tamers. And then last but not least, we do have one option card, which is sort of dedicated for the deck, where we have Overflowing Power, also kind of like Arresterdramons or Superior Modes, like signature move right here. Now, first and foremost, it is a 0-cost option, and while you have a Tamer of a Hunter in its traits in play, you get to use this card without meeting any color requirements, which is great. So then, which lets you Digivolve one of your Digimon into a Digimon card with save in its text from under one of your Tamers for its Digivolution cost. This means that if you ever tuck in sort of your Arresterdramon, any of your bigger stuff early in the stage of the games because you needed a cycle for pieces, for efficiency, this kind of like a comeback card for mid-game, late game, so that you can still use them as resources and Digivolve into one of those guys if you ever need to, which is really, really good and fantastic. You pay the cost as per usual, but it gives you access to another realm of resource to get into it, and then you can combo it with your Tamers, suspend to reduce the cost, and so on with it as well, which is nice. And the security, you just add it to your hand. So a one-off tech can be kind of helpful for sure for the deck too, so really up to you guys there. Alright, that's it for all the cards I want to showcase and talk about. Now let's show you guys how to play this deck and several couple key combos that you're going to be approaching. First and foremost, before we talk about those combos and how you want to play, there's few important rules and mechanics and notes that you have to keep in mind for this particular deck. First and foremost is the whole save synergy and the save mechanic and just the text word, keyword, save in general. A lot of these cards which we showcase in the deck profile mentions if this card has save, if that card has save in its text. All it basically means is that if that Digimon card or the whole card itself has the keyword block, the orange block that you see that says save, it immediately fulfills that condition and requirement, even if it's being on the main effect or the inherited effect. That's one important thing to keep in mind, which it always counts. I'll show you guys as we sort of like play through it a little bit and explain, and you guys will get a better understanding. And the other thing to keep in mind is, like I mentioned, your Digimon is usually the ones that has the save in its text, and anything that has Hunter in its traits is usually going to be your Tamers. Let's just jump right into it right here. Let's begin with sort of actually talking about with the whole new mulligan strategy and rule. What you want to be seeing in your opening hand is at least one of the Tamers. Any one of the Tamers that you have is going to be really crucial because you want to be using the save particular mechanic to save stuff underneath so you're not losing any value whatsoever. Secondly, you want to make sure that when you draw your hand, you have lots of like different kinds of rookies that you can sort of play, that you can see right here, and have a variety of different effects. More so importantly, at least one Tamer. If you don't see a Tamer, there is a very good chance that you should be mulliganing because you can't get there without these Tamers. It's going to be very important. So anyways, let's talk about hatching your egg in the early stages of the game. You can Digivolve into essentially any rookie you like for 0 cost. Usually I like to go for like the Shoutmon, or the Drakmon right here. Psychmon is great as well, and Gumdramon. Really, any of these 4 works very nicely because they have the actual on deletion save mechanic to save themselves. Keep in mind, the save mechanic is a little bit different than what it means by having save in its text. So talking about the save in its text right here, a very good example is Ikakimon right here. Digivolve for 0 on top of level 2 with save in its text. When you play anything that digicrosses with like Drakmon right here, a Digimon card with save in its text with its Digicross -2 mechanic, Ikakimon does count because it does have save, as you can see right here in its text. Anywhere in the surface of the card, it also does fulfill that requirement right here, being having save in its text within its inheritable, as you guys can see. So very important concept to keep in mind. So Digivolve into any of these guys. You might want to be hard playing some of them just to cycle cards as well and whatsoever. But also at the same time combination, you play any one of these Tamers that you can. So then you can save any one of them, just at least one of them. is going to be helpful. Tagiru for memory efficiency, to make sure you always start at 3. Taiki for extra draw. You for extra memory gaining. And Watchmaker to search. That's what you want to be doing it. So yeah, again, digivolving into any of these guys, then you immediately just push up and you just start chipping away at your opponent. Very similar to like Crossheart strategy. You guys can recognize a lot of like different Crossheart cards inside here as well a little bit, because with Shoutmon, there's Taiki, familiar faces and whatnot, but it has a very different approach, which makes it very fun and interesting, and I really like this new mechanic. Now Gumdramon, if it gets deleted, you get to draw with Monimon, and then otherwise afterwards you get to save it underneath your Tamers as resources. They're going to be a little bit different. They're not going to be for Digicrossing. They're actually going to be for Digivolution cost reduction. That's the different thing. You're actually building stack with this particular deck, but this way you build your stack is very different, because eventually you're going to be digivolving here, and other things that you want to be playing in the early stages of the game is, like I mentioned, the Damemon and Shoutmon King version and the Clockmon. These are the level 4s that you can digivolve once you push out into raising, but you know what I like to do is to chip away opponent security, set up for lethal, so then you can get into your win condition way faster. Otherwise, hard play these guys, whether for 5 memory or if you want to digicross underneath to -2 reduction for efficiency, go ahead and do that. Search and play as many as these Tamers as you can very quickly, and by doing so, you fulfill even more conditions. Now, very nice. With these level 4s, you can chip away at your opponent's security without worrying as well at the same time, because they give you a variety of effects. All of these 2 level 4s mainly, when they do get deleted, you get to save itself and place something in the trash underneath one of your Tamers, meaning that it can be this Ikakimon as well, and you place it underneath right here as resource. So spread out your resources evenly so they can use it differently and whatsoever. You know, whenever you need to do at the start of your main phase, slide more stuff in from your hand to draw a card with Taiki, slide something underneath into you to gain an extra memory, and so on, which is very, very crucial because it stacks you for even more resources and cycling throughout the stages of the game. Clockmon is fantastic. It has a blocker, it has searching capabilities, so you definitely want to hard play this guy as well as soon as you can. And basically, once you saved enough cards in your combos, and let's just say like you have like these guys and whatnot underneath your different kind of Tamers, this is when you sort of want to go into your Arresterdramon and your Superior Mode combo and whatnot. So once you move it out, right here, you have a rookie. This time you chipped away your opponent's security down, and then you want to go for the big combo play. You know, you'll be starting, like, just say, even at 1, works kind of nicely, but with Tagiru, you usually start at 3, which is nice, and you can very easily manipulate the memory gauge. You digivolve for 2 of Arresterdramon. Just before you do that, you digivolve, you draw, and then you get to suspend these guys with their secondary effects to reduce the cost by placing anything underneath your Tamers to sort of play around it. So let's just say, oh, I want more DP power, I place underneath Drakmon. This is when you get to be very utility and choice and have like the freedom of choosing whatever you like to stack up with your inheritable. Now that you stacked up with so many different inheritables, when digivolving, because it does have 2 or more Digivolution cards, usually anyways, you get to basically get Rush, and then on deletion, it saves itself with something else. Next, like I mentioned, why Clockmon is super important in this deck is exactly here. Why? Because it gives you jamming as well. So you definitely want to slide these guys in eventually, just like this. And because you slide like 2 things, Arresterdramon basically digivolves for 0 for free right here. And the more Tamers you have, the more value you have, right? And usually you would get to see these 3 Tamers right here. Here in this moment, you can rush and swing. But ideally, if your opponent has like a big Digimon on the board that you really want to get rid of, this is when you can just go into Arresterdramon, pay the 4 cost. Now, because you had Uemano, you get to suspend it. And then let's just place this guy underneath to reduce the cost by 1. So effectively, then you only pay 3 memory. So you're down at 0. And again, manipulate the memory gauge and be memory efficient with this particular method of play. Now, once you get into Arresterdramon, bottom one of your opponent's Digimon into underneath their Tamers or into underneath one of their Digimon and whatnot, and then basically remove it from there. But also with Arrestdramon's bottoming Digimon effect, you get to increase the level by 1 for every different color Tamer. You have 4 different color Tamers, so you can go up to a level 7 with this kind of maximum combination, which is why it's super good. Anyways, like I mentioned, back to Watchmaker, suspend him to give it security +1, and right here, you just swing in at your opponent's security or Digimon, whatever you need, with 12k, popping a 4k or less as well at the same time with Shoutmon. It has jamming for 2 checks and draw 2 cards with Arresterdramon and Psychmon as well, giving you tons and tons of value. And this is why you don't really want to worry about your DP, and this is why Clockmon is super important, but then this is why Watchmaker gives you that sort of aggression to play. Swing for 2 checks, and then basically clear out your opponent's security, and then at the end of the turn, you get to play something else. Let's just say you just pass your opponent to 3, swing again while being suspended for another 2 checks. And like I mentioned, as you guys saw with the early game plan, you'd be chipping your opponent's security away anyways with the guys that have save. Your opponent should be very low in security, so eventually you can even just like swing for 2 checks with Arresterdramon during that turn, and then at the end of the turn, you swing again immediately and punch them very quickly, like just like that, which is why it's so good with this deck. And there are a lot of often times that you may get a chance to eventually like Digivolve further. You know, you might hard play, say, eventually you might have a Drakmon that was low, and then you Digivolve into another Arresterdramon when you have more Tamers suspending it for free, and then you can get into another sort of superior mode right here, and then you can swing as well. It doesn't have Blitz. Just keep in mind it has Rush if you retain your turn, and then both these Arresterdramons can swing at the end of the turn, resolving one after another while being suspended, and that's how you finish and end games against your opponent. In any other dire situation that you need to control the board even more, this is when you would Digivolve here into Quartzmon, and then basically suspend everything else, and then gain the memory back with it, and so on, and then control the board right there. And if your opponent does not have an answer to Quartzmon, then you basically finish them off the next turn, essentially. And yeah, super strong level 7 that you can top off. Paying 9 costs is not an issue at all. You guys can see how wide you go with this board, and the more wider you have, the more value and the more memory you gain back with Quartzmon, and so on. The more Tamers, the more utility. And this is why this deck is super interesting, super fun. A little bit complex to learn at the beginning, but hope you guys learn from it, and definitely this is how you want to be playing it. That will wrap up for the deck profile for today. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. We got lots more Digimon videos and content coming with BT12 deck profiles, so be sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on that notification bell to stay tuned. If you guys just can't wait, I want to see early deck lists and first drafts made by me, then definitely join the Avault Club right now as well. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and it's Avault signing out.